What's up, guys? Welcome back to Why We Serve. Today's a fun episode. I brought old Vince and Hollis back on pod. Vince, thanks for coming back. We're having fun time here. We're just gonna crack a couple beers and talk about current events in the world and see how quickly I can get canceled and solve a lot of issues here around this kids' table. What's going on, Vince? We're just gonna dive right in. What do you got for me, Vince?
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Vince is obviously quoting Donald Trump from his famous 2016 election run.
It's Oppenheimer.
It is Oppenheimer, yeah. The guy who made the bomb. The movie's out in theaters now.
You ever seen that video?
The one where it shows him saying it and stuff,
It's black
like
and white.
No,
It's fucking eerie, dude.
is it? He was like a real gaunt dude, right? Like real pale and skinny and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's eerie. It's an eerie video, and he realizes like he quotes the let's see if I could say it right, Bhagavad Gita. It's like Hindu.
The Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, it's Hindu scripture, but it's just it's crazy.
Yeah.
You got to watch it on YouTube. It's eerie.
It's crazy. Did you ever hear how the theory behind, I don't know if you know it or not, but for listeners, like the theory behind fission is,
Yeah, they thought they're gonna blow up the whole world.
yeah, because the theory is that it chain reacts and just keeps going, and they didn't know what would happen.
Yeah.
I'm like, how are you okay with doing that though?
Yeah,
I just don't get that
think
part.
about a scientist perspective though, like in the mad scientist, I mean science, they about what's actually, yeah, they realize, holy shit, like if we do this, what can happen?
Yeah.
But like at the same time, on the other side of their mind, they're like, oh man, we got to do this. Curiosity killed the cat. Like, oh my god, we got to try this. For science.
I guess I'd be like scared. I don't know how you'd pull the trigger on it. Like,
Well, they're just, they're scientists, so I mean, they're just of humanity.
he made the movie. You ever watch
That's
one?
a damn good
Dude,
movie.
it's a good
One of the
movie.
Fourth of July is a damn good
It's
movie.
good, but it's kind
fucked
of
up.
yeah. Tom Cruise just playing this.
It's based on a true story,
Cripple
right?
dude. Yeah, supposedly. Well, Platoon was based on Oliver Stone's experience in the military. Like not obviously, at the end when everything goes to, but he was like,
That's Hollywood at the end.
yeah, but he was like, there's some fucked up people that did really well as leaders, and then there's good guys that like get shit on for their actions, which like that's still like prevalent,
Platoon was Willem Dafoe and Charlie Sheen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. That's
good.
That's one of
It's
the better Vietnam movies.
That's one of the best military movies,
They said it's one of the I've heard people say that it's one of the closer reenactments
depictions or whatever.
Depictions of Vietnam, yeah.
I like Willem Dafoe a lot too.
Or the best one is Godspeed, Spider-Man.
Watched them again. They're kind of good. It's just shitty CGI, but they're good. It's funny. The second one is like just good. Period. It's just with Doc Ock and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to hold that train back.
That's pretty legit.
And then Joey Diaz. You know who Joey Diaz
he's
is?
in it, yeah.
He's in it. We didn't see nothing.
Yeah. You go through you gotta go through us to get to him.
Yeah.
Perfect person.
Come on, come on, cocksucker. Try to get to me. You don't know shit.
Damn good movie.
Did you ever watch the other Spider-Mans? The amazing one?
I never did watch The Amazing Spider-Man. I do want to watch them.
That's my favorite ones.
I heard they were pretty good.
He's kind of a whiny bitch in it, but
Well, that was the era, though, man. That was the era.
yeah, it was. Tonight will be the night. No.
What year did those come out? I know,
We were in high school, probably.
You think?
Or maybe a little
I think
later.
it was probably right at. Well, one thing I do remember, I don't know if it was the first or second one, but whenever I was in South Korea, in Busan, we went to...
Train to Busan.
But we went to... there was this big mall there, and I can't remember the name of the damn mall, some Korean name, but there was a big bull statue out in front of it, and we used to go to that mall all the time. It's a big bull. It's cool. I got pictures with it, but that's beside the point. But
Yeah.
there was a Pizza Hut in there, I remember, and they were promoting the Amazing Spider-Man, and I want to say that was 2013 or 2014. It's probably 2013.
Yeah, I mean that dates right with your military stuff and all that.
Is that Fred?
Fred?
No.
Might have been Danielle going to the bathroom or something.
Oh.
What were we on? No, the Platoon. Oh, Oliver Stone, though. So he made that. He made all those movies, right? He made a new movie about, it's a documentary basically about nuclear power and how it's actually pretty safe. So the Navy's been doing it.
Nimitz class carriers. I mean,
yeah.
The Nimitz, USS Nimitz. I mean, it was.
Well, now they have two, right? Isn't there? I think there's two.
Two what?
Two of the carriers that run on.
There's way more carriers than that.
That run on nuclear power?
Oh, yeah. All of them do. Oh, they're all of them now.
And it's like a 50, 60 year battery, basically, right?
Yeah. I want to say it's a 50. Yeah, because don't quote me. I think the Nimitz. I used to have to know this kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
But the USS Nimitz, I think it was commissioned in the 1950s. Believe it or not. Let me look this up real quick. Yeah, and then all the carriers that came after the Nimitz, like the one I was on, the George Washington.
Yeah,
it's a Nimitz class carrier.
So they're modeled basically after the Nimitz.
They're almost all identical.
Right.
There's some differences in them. Like you've got the Ronald Reagan, the Nimitz. You've got the George Washington. You've got the Truman.
All right, Vince was telling us about the Nimitz. Sorry, we had a little break for a minute. So he turned out the Nimitz was in 75, you said?
The Nimitz was commissioned May 3rd, 1975. So I was quite a bit off on the time it was commissioned here. But yeah, it's all Nimitz class carriers though, and then like these new carriers, like so all the carriers that are in the fleet now. And let me just Google this real quick. How many carriers are in the fleet? How many carriers does the U.S. Navy have? 11 aircraft carriers right now.
Okay.
11 aircraft carriers, and then they got 9 helo carriers, so amphibs. Amphibs, that's like the Marine ships, like that the Marines deploy from.
Oh, okay.
And the Harriers fly on. The Marine Harriers, they go straight up and down.
Right, they go straight up and down, yeah.
And they're like a jet after that.
Yeah, that's what my grandpa built in at Boeing.
Oh, they're badass.
Because they're already making scale nuclear reactors, basically. Do you think they'll ever get to a point where it's like phones will run off like that stuff?
Like nuclear power? I mean, I don't know. I mean, fuck, I don't know. Maybe. I've never heard much about that.
They said they're making it to where now you can use the nuclear powers and it'll transfer to battery energy, but it's just hard to do. But I don't. They say that's the whole documentary is everyone's really scared of nuclear power because of 3 Mile Island. What's that shit? What was the thing in Russia?
Oh, Chernobyl.
Yeah, Chernobyl and Fukushima and all that stuff. But then Oliver Stone goes over and he's like, Chernobyl was a disaster, right? 3 Mile Island disaster, but like Fukushima, most of the damage was it. People think of it as like this weird like radioactiveness. Fukushima was actually just a giant explosion, and then most of it was debris issue that caused everything. There was radiation leaking out, but very minute amounts. So I don't know.
Well, like, what was the deal with Chernobyl? Chernobyl was like graphite cooling systems, wasn't it? Like it was graphite. They used graphite and it's like was primitive technology.
It was super outdated. It was super outdated.
Yeah, they had a lot of issues with that.
Yeah. I think it'd be cool if like, we're out here, you could put like a main reactor like centralized through like 10 counties. And that could provide the energy, and it just flows out. And I bet it would be cheap as shit. because it just go forever. But I don't even know how you would do that. It would take years to build, and then man, and figure out the supply lines for it.
Well, maybe it'd be cheaper to produce energy, I guess, but at the same time, I don't think, I think whatever energy company owns it, I think they're just going to screw us no matter what. I mean, I don't think.
Well, that's why it should be government regulated.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think, well, yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, you know that.
The answer, if like GE taking over, you don't want them really running.
I bet Ameren would.
Ameren, yeah. Yeah, Ameren runs like most of Missouri.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get my, living in town, I get Ameren Electric.
Oh, okay. Crazy. What's the last movie you saw in theaters? I think, me and Danielle went and saw one, but have you went in a while? It was like so cool as a kid.
I don't remember, man. I don't know the last time I saw a movie. I really don't.
Yeah. I like remember like going all the time, and then you hit a point where you're like, what? Like, why would I go?
Yeah, it's modern times. I mean, it's just different. The world's different now. I mean, we have all this instant, everything.
Yeah, but I like it was fun. Like, where'd the spark go? I think the movies are just bad. Cause we went. I remember as a kid, you go see like Step Brothers, Knocked Up. You just laugh your ass off. But that was like the golden age of comedies too. So I don't know, like.
I didn't really go see those. I was about 2 years behind on all that stuff. And then
yeah, you never saw a bunch of them.
No, I never. I didn't really go to the movie. I went to the movies more as like an older teenager in the early 20s.
Yeah, because I remember I went to. We moved to Troy for a summer. Mm-hmm. And there was a movie theater there that let me see all the 18 and up movies. They didn't care. And I mean, I was young. I was like 13 or 14. Mm-hmm. And they just let me. I remember I went and saw Knocked Up, and there was a mom and her daughter there. And there's just a scene of them just fucking. The mom's like, what the hell? And they stormed out.
Oh,
and I'm just like dying laughing. Because I think she asked him, like, do you have a condom? And he's like, she goes, do you have a condom? And he's like, yeah. It's Seth Rogen just having sex. And he's trying to put it on. I think she goes like, just do it already. And he's like, he thinks that's like code for don't put it on. So he's like, okay.
It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
Yeah. I got rid of TikTok, but I use like Facebook, the clips, Mm-hmm. A background check to buy a gun. You don't need to register any. And that you can conceal or open carry. Yay or nay?
So basically just no regulation. I mean.
No regulation. Like very libertarian aspect of it almost.
I mean, when you go buy a gun, though, they're still going to do a background check on you and all that shit.
No.
So a felon can just go buy a gun.
Supposedly. Allegedly. But if a felon gets caught with one.
Yeah, they're deep shit.
Right.
Well, that's a tough subject. I mean, I'm all for having rights, and less government regulation is always better. But at the same time, I think that background checks are probably not a bad idea. I mean,
yeah.
I think background checks at least. I mean, I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, for general welfare, I mean, I guess of the United States or the state, I guess background checks are, a good thing. But I mean, I don't know. You don't want a bozo to get a gun, but a bozo can get a gun anyways. I mean, they don't have to go buy it from Walmart or from a sporting goods store, or
Right.
they can acquire it somehow, some way. So I mean, hell, you're not going to stop somebody from getting a gun. I mean,
Yeah, most of the guns they say that are used for crimes are from out of state anyway. In New York, it's 90%, I think, and they said California, it's like 70%.
yeah,
Like,
you're not going to
what are
stop
you gonna
it
do?
anyways.
Yeah, people break laws regardless. But like, I watched Jon Stewart debate it with another guy, and because the Oklahoma senator was like, it says in the law shall not be infringed, and then he was like, well, what about voting? Because you have to register fraud and stuff. People breaking the law, and he's like, exactly my point. And I'm like, that's a good point, but at the same time, I don't think there should be a registry of how many guns every person owns in the U.S. because that's just not anybody's business, But it's hard to find that balance of like privacy versus public safety, because I believe background checks are super important, and conceal carry, and I think conceal carry and open carry should all be like a class or something, like some type of class you got to take before you can do that, because it's like I see like 18-year-old kids at like protests and shit walking around carrying ARs and shit or pistols like just open, and I'm like, you probably have no idea what the fuck you're doing. Like some of them do.
Something that's fun.
Yeah.
She lives in, and I mean that's actual St. Louis City, not St. Louis County, St. Louis City, right by downtown. But that's one of the worst parts of St. Louis is the greater St. Louis area, South City, and I mean she tells me these stories of these kids, they're 16, 15, 16 years old, walking around on the street, with ARs,
Really?
just in the middle in broad daylight, and it's like it's a flex, and I mean, so this neighborhood that she's in now, it's only, few blocks down the road from where I lived as a kid, for, I don't know, from 6 to, 10 years old. But that neighborhood, it had some bad spots, that area did, I mean, each block was different. It's kind of funny how St. Louis works. It's like one block's good, one block's not good,
Yeah.
But she told me that they were, just these kids were carrying around these ARs, and it's just a flex, and I mean, I'm just amazed by that. The kids that age are doing that, but I mean, I don't know what can you do, I mean, and there's gun laws in St. Louis. I mean, there's in St. Louis City there's gun laws,
Right.
I mean, but you ain't gonna fucking stop any of them people. I mean,
I think they say it has like some of the toughest gun laws.
oh yeah, well, hell, police officers don't want to go. They don't even want to go in those areas.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dangerous. I mean, it's fucking dangerous. To be a cop in those areas, it's you got to really have a strong sense, I guess, of justice, and to want to do those jobs.
Yeah, you gotta want it. You gotta want to do the
Yeah.
job.
I can't even imagine trying to, be a police officer in those areas. I mean, no way.
My cousin Steve, he was a homicide detective in like St. Louis City, and he switched now. He's out in like O'Fallon or St. Peter's, I think, or something. He transitioned out. He's still a detective, but he doesn't have to deal with that stuff. But like, I think they said it was just because it was so chaotic, and so.
I mean, well, it's on YouTube,
Yeah.
And but I just get caught in little wormholes of
Oh yeah,
information.
same man. Yeah.
And Fox 2 News will pop up sometimes, and it seems like every day. It seems like every fucking day. St. Louis City has a murder.
Shooting, yeah.
Has a shooting, has a murder. I mean, and it's just like, my God, in downtown it gets wild in summers, And I mean, Nick, he lived downtown. He lived in a pretty nice apartment, pretty close to Busch Stadium.
Oh really?
Yeah, but it was nice. I mean, it was one of those high-rise ones.
Right. Yeah, that's nicer, kind of better part of town, I guess.
But he said that it just got fucking crazy out there in the streets at 10, 11 o'clock at night in the summer.
Yeah.
I mean, and I went up there that last summer to pick him up, to bring him down here.
Yeah.
Last June, I believe. And I mean, I remember you could already see the movement was starting to take place out there. There's a lot of people out on the streets at like 8 o'clock at night, and I mean, and the mayor of St. Louis, she was like, downtown is not a place for your 15-year-old to be, because they had that shooting up there. I forgot how many people died recently. That was maybe 2 people died and 9 were shot or something.
Where was that
at? It was downtown. I just don't know exactly where downtown, but I mean, and the mayor got on there and says, do not let your 15-year-old go downtown,
Yeah, like what? Why do they have to do that?
Yeah,
why do
past
they
10
have to
o'clock
tell
at night.
people that?
Well, it's just, it's a major city, and, there's nothing but trouble down there. But, I mean, St. Louis is a rough city, man. It's one of the roughest cities in the United States for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the Midwest in general is, I went up to Detroit here, well, it was about a year ago, and it was just, all it was just a...
It was on track to be one of the biggest cities in the U.S.
So was St. Louis.
Yeah.
So was St. Louis. And St. Louis,
but like,
from the 50s on, everybody's moving out to the suburbs.
Right. Well, not only that, the jurisdiction of what St. Louis as a city got cut into these counties, and then you're like, this ain't even a big-ass city, really. St. Louis City itself is really small, kind of.
Just one little... It's not a big area, no.
No.
It's the area of it's not
but
very big.
South County, was even, I mean, depending on it's like the same shit,
Yeah, you go a little ways out from East St. Louis. East St. Louis, if you ever look at the population of East St. Louis, it's not very high at all.
No, but it looks gut to, it's Illinois, and it's all gut to shit,
Well, so if you go a little ways out, it's not bad. It's actually, if you go a little ways out from the self-proclaimed East St. Louis, there's one rough area,
right,
and then it kind of gets like around Cahokia and stuff. It's kind of hit or miss.
Yeah, but Cahokia itself is even nice. Like it's
not bad.
It's not bad. O'Fallon, it's not bad.
That's not bad, and like that's the thing. It's like that surrounding area. It's not that bad. It's just one little section. Of East St. Louis is bad.
Yeah.
I mean, but a city's a city. I mean, no matter where you go, I mean, you're gonna have your rough spots. But I will say St. Louis is definitely if you go to Kansas City and you see the difference between, I mean, I know Kansas City's got its rough areas. It does have its rough areas too, for sure.
Yeah.
But like making a comparison, you see how modern and nice KC looks, and it looks clean compared to St. Louis. Going through as a person just driving through.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, yeah, you're gonna be partial to St. Louis, but I'm just telling you. Like,
no, yeah, you're right though. When you drive through,
it's a lot,
especially downtown. When you, even on
way
on
nicer.
40. But even on 44, if you look to the right, when you're driving out and you're like, damn, it's kind of dirty out here. But then you're also like, it's so subjective to even the people, because obviously you came out of that, right? And you're doing fine. I've had soldiers that, like, they're from South Side Chicago, and they have a real shitty life, but they're doing real well,
No, you can, dude. It's not a destiny. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's not something. It's not predestination. I mean, you can.
But it kind of is, don't you think? Some of it.
Well, yeah, it is.
Or it's a.
A lot of it boils down to the home life. It's not as much the environment as it is the home life. Now, don't get me wrong. The environment is huge. I mean, like if you're surrounded by a bunch of rough people, and you are a product of your environment for sure. But if you have a good home,
I mean, wonders like. A lot of them didn't have fathers.
No, yeah, of course.
Or mother. Most of it's fathers, and that's how they ended up driving themselves to succeed. And I always wonder if with both parents, is that better, worse, or neutral to someone growing up without a mom or a dad?
Yeah. Well, I think the nuclear family, I think, is ideal, because there's roles that can be played. Now, if the nuclear family is in shambles, and let's say the mom and dad are constantly screaming and arguing, and they have an abusive relationship, and the kids are not, they don't feel safe, and there's a lot of stress, and there's a lot of issues there, then the nuclear family probably isn't the best option. But I think the having the father play the role of the father and doing his duties as a father, and I think the mother has her role too. I think that is the ideal world.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always work out that way. Most of the time it doesn't work out that way nowadays, especially. I mean, I don't know.
I think you gotta have those strong parent roles, but then like, I I think the I guess that's the coddling. There's this level of coddling, then there's a level of berating. And you
Yeah.
got to find this like medium that's like it shows them kids struggle and, you know, resiliency, but love and compassion at the same time. And that's like so hard to find, you know. That's like a very hard balancing act.
Well, you know, look at world history. You know, I'm not a parent, so I don't have the, you know, the firsthand knowledge of it. Or you look at the Spartans.
Black bud.
You know, well, I'm just giving them some you know, difficulty, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, look at age 7. You know, they sent the Spartans out, and then, you know, basically the kids would have to. They were recruits at the time, and they would have to go learn to fend for themselves. You know,
Yeah.
they're pulled away from their mothers, and hey, now you have 5. You know, survival. You know, but you can't get caught stealing. You know, because if you get caught stealing, you know, you're in deep shit.
Yeah.
But you have to be sly enough, and you know, you have to be smart enough to outwit these people. I mean, that's extreme, but you know, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like,
I mean, those same guys teaching that would come home and rape their wives, like in their sleep, and
huh?
yeah, they would. When they got them with war, they would come home often without like telling the wife. Like the wives wouldn't know. The dudes would crawl in the bed and rape them, and then they would leave like a day or two later.
The husbands and wife, is that what you're talking about?
The husband to the wife.
Well, times were pretty fucked up back then, but
Right.
all I'm saying is like, you know, I mean, that's the extreme example is what I'm getting at.
Right.
I like that's saying that there is some benefit to independence there.
Yeah. There's something to it.
That's one side of the coin. That's the independence. Now then there's the other side, you know, where you have these, you know, helicopter parents now, you know, modern times, you know, and they're just micromanaging every aspect of their kid's life. Now you need to look after your kids, and you need to make sure they're safe and everything else. But at the same time, if they're not given room for creativity, growth, everything else, you know, learn things on their own, you know, to bruise their knees, to scrape their shins, whatever, then they're not going to gain any independence.
Well, think about it, dude. If you never let your kid run at 100%, they're never going to know how to run at 100%.
No.
So that, like,
if you do everything for them, I mean,
that's metaphorical and physical, right? Like, number one, sports-wise, like, if you don't let your kids get rough and tough and, you know, roll in the grass, how they going to deal with anything when they get older? But number two, like, you know, sometimes kids got to get hurt so they can understand, like, oh, it wasn't that bad. I guess I'll deal with it, you know? Are you hurt or injured?
Yeah, man. It's well, you got to learn to, you know, take the hits and move forward, you know.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of people, a lot of adults now don't have that. I mean, a lot of adults don't have that now. I mean, they just, you know.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of things that, you know, we just have.
Yeah, we jumped back in. Me and Vince took a break. We didn't realize it wasn't recording. We talked a lot about China after that. It was basically about how China's a superpower now, right, Vince? And
yeah, they're a force to be reckoned with for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that's a little bit scary. You know, you've got this this situation in the Pacific right now with, you know, Taiwan, and then, I mean, you've got the Philippines involved. You've got Japan. I mean, it's going to be a scary deal, you know, just because, you know, Taiwan's the #1 microchip producer in the world too.
Yeah, I heard the microchip thing is actually what's instigating a lot of this stuff.
Oh, it's 100%. I mean, you know, I mean, we have interest there. I mean, the world has interest there. I mean, it's not just us. I mean, it's the world, you know, and we owe you know, Taiwan, I guess, protection, and, you know, if
why do we owe them?
That's exactly why.
That's what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, economic interest. I mean, we put it on the veil of democracy, you know, and I mean, yeah, sure, maybe that's part of it, but I mean, it's economic interest, you know, and I think their GDP puts them in the top 10 in the world, I believe. You know, I think they're the top 10 country in the world GDP wise. I think. Yeah. I think they are. I mean,
you mean that by Taiwan by itself?
Taiwan, yeah, by itself. Which the acquisition. I looked this up one day, and it was like if they acquired, because Hong Kong was pretty high up there too in GDP.
Yeah.
China just acquired Hong Kong. But because the 50-year clause with Hong Kong. Great Britain and China.
Okay.
Where in 1997, Great Britain relinquished any sort of they were a protector of Great Britain.
Yeah.
They were a protectorate of Great Britain, though. So in 50 years, so 2047, China had free reign. That Hong Kong becomes a part of China by 2047. Hong Kong is kind of like a city-state, I guess.
Is it really?
Yeah. It's a self-governing, almost like a city-state. That's the best way to describe it. But that's kind of changed, because you remember the protests that were going on and everything else.
Yeah, and they knocked them down and
Yeah.
shit. I mean, it was violent.
I mean, so, like, if you look...
That's all we saw of it,
Oh, it was a bad deal. Like,
yeah.
And that's kind of... They were self-governing. And this situation with the protests and everything else, China was really putting their jurisdiction, technically.
Yeah.
But... that was kind of the deal with Great Britain, like in 97. Like, hey, let these guys run their own show, free market capitalism, everything else, like let them run their own show under this clause. I don't remember what it was called. But, China said, nah, fuck that. This is ours.
It's ours, yeah.
Yeah. If we don't like what's going on there,
what the fuck?
we're gonna do what we want. And then that's the thing about their, their education system too. Like they kind of teach a more liberal, more what's the word for it? But more worldly. They have a more worldly educational system, and China is kind of stepping in now, and they're saying, well, we don't want you teaching that, and you're going to follow our guidelines.
It shows how old China is almost, because it's like every other spot in the world that Britain put their hand in has influences of it, whether it's Africa, India, Australia, wherever, there's bits and pieces of British culture throughout there still to this day. Whereas China was like, it's not.
Opium wars between. The British were bringing in opium and just selling it to the Chinese, and they just had a bunch of drug addicts, running around,
Yeah,
China.
yeah.
And they came in and took them out, and basically, that's how I'm pretty sure that's how they got Hong Kong. I think through the opium wars. But that's how they were able to claim Hong Kong, and then the Japanese claimed Hong Kong in World War II. The Japanese came in and took Hong Kong and took many parts of China too.
I didn't know that.
Well, you got Manchuria. Manchuria was the main one, but then you've also got I think they, oh God, did they take Shanghai? They took Shanghai and Beijing, I believe, both areas around there.
Oh, so they were like dominating.
Oh, they were dominating, but you had Mao and Chiang Kai-shek. They were fighting at the time.
Yeah.
Mao and Chiang Kai-shek, and World War II is what brought them together. And so that's actually what went down. They brought them together. They said, well, we kind of need to get along a little bit in order to push the Japanese out, because the Japanese are gonna fucking take our country.
Yeah.
And we don't want that. But let's leave this a Chinese affair. We're already at civil war. Communists versus nationalists.
Right.
But we're going to we need to band together to push the Japanese out, and they never did. But World War II, Russia or the USSR at the time invaded Manchuria. And then you had us dropping 2 atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah,
And that was kind of the end of it all. And then Japan surrendered, and all that territory was
given back or whatever.
Yeah, and then you had French Indochina, which was you had Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam.
Yeah.
And then you had all that, and so they were fighting war all over the place.
Yeah, if you look at the history of the world in that area, those areas have been dominated by the Chinese, and over and over again. Like, they would move in there and you can still see influences of China throughout Laos, Cambodia,
Oh yeah.
Vietnam, all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And it's insane. Like their power. I mean, China is, I mean, thousands of years
Oh,
old.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I mean, the U.S. is 200, 1775, so 250 years basically
Yeah.
old. That's
Mhm.
nothing. That's
Oh, we're a
nothing
blip
to
in
any
history
country.
or nothing. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even Rome. I mean, look at Rome.
Yeah. I mean, like, 1600s states have been put it at 250 some, I guess. Or
Oh
no.
yeah.
And I mean, Missouri didn't become a state until
1821.
21. Yeah, and it was 1800s. But then, like, California, it's like
1848.
yeah. See, look at you. What
Yep.
the fuck? And then Alaska, I think, was the last one, right? It's the 50th state.
Alaska and Hawaii.
Yeah.
It was 1959.
That's crazy. Like
Yeah.
that's nothing. So
Yeah. Yep. It's well, I mean, the acquisition of lands too. I mean, Spain. You've got so much going on because you've got Mexico versus Spain.
Yeah.
And then Mexico won independence, and I got 18 something. I forgot.
yeah.
18,
Dude, Texas looked like it was gonna be Mexico's.
Yeah.
Like it literally looked like it was gonna be theirs. And then the whole shit with Santa Ana, this governor or whatever. What up, Duke? There was a governor that was gonna be like, no, fuck that. We're gonna be a Texas Republic. And then
Yeah.
he tried starting shit, and then Santa Ana and them or whoever it was, they were like, no, this is between us and the U.S. It's just, it's so young, and then you look at these other countries. I mean, China, Russia. I mean, what's the oldest country in the world?
Well, I mean, if you really want to go back, like I mean, like
Egypt, maybe.
I mean, they
Or-
say that we all rooted from Africa.
Right.
I mean, the first
and it branched out.
established country, the Middle East, I guess.
But I mean, Egypt
China,
and
though,
that.
too.
But I
don't
mean,
know.
that was all Ottoman Empire for a while.
What?
The
Ottoman?
Middle Eastern stuff, like.
Well, it wasn't the Ottoman until way later. The Ottoman Empire wasn't until
Yeah, I
the
mean,
fall of,
but you had before Sumerians. You had
Oh,
all.
yeah.
But I mean, none of that's countries like none of that was countries.
China was probably split up. I'm sure.
Yeah.
And the Middle East was pretty split up. I mean, China is one of the oldest civilizations, though. I mean, it's for sure.
The oldest that kept its stuff, basically.
Yeah, it's history.
Because I mean, like Afghanistan, Iraq,
Mm.
Kuwait, and stuff are old, but they've mutated so much from what they originally were, or the borderlines, or the culture.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Middle East and China both have some of the oldest civilizations, and Africa
Yeah.
too. Africa's,
I'd say China's the strongest.
Yeah.
You look at trained at that point. Tweets first, like how you respect certain people and stuff. That comes from thousands of years ago.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we're all New World. That's the thing. I mean, our culture, is predominantly from Europe. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, and Western culture. I mean, the West is the West. I mean, I know there's differences between us and Europe, but I mean, there's nothing. It's nothing too dramatic. Like you go out east.
Yeah.
When I was out in Japan, it's a major difference between us and not just Japan, just all throughout Asia. I mean, it's just a major difference. And then people cluster. A lot of times people cluster Asians together.
Yeah, but there's so many
But
different
they're
cultures over there.
so different.
Asia literally goes
So
from
different.
Russia to the right is all the way to like what, the Philippines basically.
Goes all the way down to Indonesia.
In Indonesia, yeah.
Yeah, it goes from Russia to Indonesia. Yeah. Well, and even India is considered Asian. I mean, India is considered part of Asia.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a subcontinent.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's
think about that, dude. India, China, Russia, Afghanistan, and
all of the Middle East. I mean, it's all considered Asia.
yeah. What's
Yeah.
the one that's connected to Turkey?
Connected to Turkey?
Yeah, right below Turkey. Is Turkey Asia?
The only part that's
Oh, the rest
That's
is
it.
Turkey, Afghanistan, India, and it's all lumped into one country. And I'm like, how the fuck did that end up? Like,
Iran.
Yeah.
Pakistan, Bangladesh.
Yeah, but then
it's
like
all
Sri Lanka,
Sri Lanka.
Kuala Lumpur,
Well, that's Malaysia.
or that's yeah,
Singapore.
yeah, Burma,
Mm.
or not Burma. What's it
Myanmar.
called? Myanmar. Yeah,
Yeah, Myanmar.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's
There's like other small countries out there that we don't like. I don't even know the names of, but I know there's shit out there.
yeah.
It's the same with us and like, we got American Samoa. People don't talk about. We got Saipan.
Mm-hmm.
That's an American territory. But it has extremely strong Asian roots to it.
Oh, yeah.
Like the people there look Asian.
Mm-hmm.
Philippines, same shit. Samoa, same shit.
Well, look at Native Americans, for example, here, and I believe this for sure, that they did come originally from Asia. I do believe that.
Yeah.
Because the land bridge, Siberia, whatever, the Siberian land bridge.
Yeah.
And I think that and they talk about epicanthial folds, around the eyelids, and they say that's how they determined that Native Americans came from Asia. So basically, Native Americans, in my opinion, are just Asians.
Or just Asians
They
that
kinda
moved
are.
here
I mean,
early.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you look at it that way.
I mean, you've got.
We're just well, not me and you. We're probably like Norwegian and Scandinavian or some bullshit.
No, I'm just American.
But
I don't
we're
even have a
Europe.
clue.
I mean, like a lot of our shit comes from just European looks. That's why we all look the same as them.
Yeah.
Do you believe in the Younger Dryas impact theory?
The what?
The Younger Dryas.
I don't know that.
It's it believes that every 10 to 12,000 years, or it happened 10 to 12,000 years ago, that there was this massive meteor strike across the globe that caused ice caps to melt, that was probably, and that it caused civilization to reset basically.
They think 10 to 12,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Do they have any proof behind?
Yeah, you gotta watch. It's called Ancient Apocalypse. Graham Hancock. You ever heard of him?
Mm-mm.
He's a historian basically that goes into all that stuff. He was on Joe Rogan too. He talks about it there, but then you watch his show. A lot of it makes sense because there's these old structures that are dated to 10, 12,000 years ago, but it doesn't make sense the technology that was used to create them. One of his big, a lot of people, he used to focus on the pyramids because the rock that was used was from an immense amount of miles away from there. And they were yeah, they used logs to roll it there, but the cuts on the rock make no sense. They're just perfectly executed, like what we would do with a laser. So all this shit, right? They say basically that that flood though, that's also why when you see religion, great flood with Moses.
Is that you're talking about?
Did I say Moses? Yeah, I meant Noah. Sorry. Yeah, I haven't been to church in a while. Fucking, you got that, and then you got throughout all of history, there's these great beings that show up. In South America, they have a couple that it was these great gods that showed up and taught them how to do things. In Greek history, there was these guys that showed up with geniusness. They think those people were sole survivors of before the flood. I think it was something before. I think
The only thing I think I could see totally where that mindset comes from, that thinking, and he could totally be right. He's probably a lot smarter than me, but I think look at society now and look at 2010 until now, and look at how fast everything has developed. Look at the lives that we live now versus 2010. Look at how fast and rapid technology has advanced. I mean, it's insane. I mean, I don't know.
so. His thing too is that he believes it was not. So everything we do basically is based around computing stuff with electricity and internal combustion engines. He believes they figured out something else. Some type of... Whether
Magic.
it...
Magic.
Magic. I mean, that's what it looked... I mean...
It's like that game Fred plays, Magic.
Oh, The Gathering, yeah.
Like a South Park episode.
Well, dude, like,
Magic.
I mean, there's got to be something else than there's got. I mean, like, think about like nuclear energy. Like, what if they just solved that early on and were able to use it?
I don't know. It'd be cool. It'd be
And then,
badass.
I mean, like, a lot of that is like a lot of those structures. If you ever look at abandoned structures, regardless, shit grows through them. The earth finds a way.
Mm-hmm.
So there'd be no evidence, but these little places that were built, you know, I don't know.
Something that amazes me, and I got caught up in this wormhole for a long time, and it was bad.
What's Codal, Texacoco?
Yeah, you just imagine those showing up and seeing, you know, Hernan Cortez when he shows up and he's like, oh my God.
I mean,
Well,
Vince is being young Jamie right now.
okay, so Venice. So you compared it to
Oh.
Venice. So back then, this is like, you know, Renaissance time. I mean, you know, this is like
Or-
Renaissance until, you know, Italy
It was probably beautiful at that point.
yeah, like Italy, like back in like, you know, what was it, like maybe the mid 1300s, early 1400s. Italy was the first, you know, first country.
Modern city almost, right?
Well, Italy's not. Well, like the country of Italy was
Yeah.
like you know the first one to go through the Renaissance, you know, and then it went north.
Yeah.
From there, you know, some 1,000 people living
Now,
there, and then just
sacrifices
Mhm.
and shit, and the
Jaguar
war-
suits. They
Jaguar
wore.
suits, the warrior training they did, probably, you know, like
Fuck. They used obsidian to for their weapons. So it's,
really,
and yeah, obsidian like obsidian like swords.
yeah.
And
That had to be as strong as shit, but it hard to make.
dude, they got it from volcano.
It'd be like such a jagged.
No, dude, they had it.
No,
shit
they
cut.
made it smooth.
Oh yeah, dude, and they got it from the volcano that was near, and they cut they made all their weapons out of it, and like this shit is like, is
Fuck.
it still recording?
Yeah, I just wasn't at the.
Today, usually,
I
it's
didn't
like
know
it's
that.
sharper than.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
It's sharper than steel. Like it's
Yeah.
like, it's nuts.
What's obsidian? Is like, is it just a?
glass.
It's a glass.
It's
Okay.
glass from volcanic glass is what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's fucking badass though. Dude, I saw that. I was like, that's fucking.
It's a
awesome.
cool color, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's like a grayish color. I think
Mhm.
it's like a grayish color, but like fucking he goes out there and you know just imagine seeing that dude, just like seeing them fucking jaguars on their heads. Like
Yeah, it's
dude,
scary.
jaguars are a big cat. That's the biggest cat in the Americas. Like all of the Americas, you know. Like
Yeah.
that's the only big cat that we have. Like yeah, mountain lions are big. Like but this is like on the category of tigers and lions.
Is a jaguar bigger than a mountain lion?
Yeah, jaguar is bigger than a mountain lion for sure. Oh yeah. Dude.
Oh, okay.
It's not as big as a lion or a tiger.
No, but it's.
in
I know
the-
it's big. I just didn't know.
Well, like the main cats, it's like lion, tiger, jaguar, and jaguars like.
Jaguars and panthers, are they like the same size?
Well, so I think panthers is just another.
Term for it?
No, panthers another term for mountain lions.
Oh.
It's just another term for mountain lions.
Or maybe a breed, I guess.
like a-
Mountain lions are like U.S. ones, and then panther is
well,
like.
so like if you go down to like South America or like Mexico, they say
Yeah, it's Puma. Oh, Puma.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they have different names like
Yeah.
mountain lion, cougar.
Well,
puma.
Puma's stupid.
Yeah,
They
that's
should get
just what
rid of
they
it.
call but I mean, nah, dude, jaguars are fucking huge, and then like they go.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, you should see like you ever watch some of the videos like where they go and the Animal Planet videos. They go boom, and they bite these.
Like tackle.
They go bite the nape of any of their prey, and they just go
Like-
down it. The nape's like the back of your
Like
neck.
the back, right? Yeah.
Instant kill. Like just boom. Like they go in and they.
Because they crunch the spine
Yeah,
or what?
Yeah, dude, they go straight for like the spinal cord and just boom.
Imagine the power of the bite on
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Just,
The bite force is
just
crazy on a jaguar.
crunching your spine, right, or your neck, and not even your. It's the base of your neck
Mm-hmm.
and the top of your spine. So you're paralyzed, and your brain probably ain't working at that
No.
point.
No, and they do this with fucking caiman and alligators and shit and crocodiles. Just imagine that. And just fucking. And I mean, you should see it, dude. It's like they dive. It's like, whew. I mean, it's wild.
They say that's why humans have an innate scaredness to tigers and lions and stuff, because we were chased so much by them when we were like a young species.
Oh yeah.
Dude, can you imagine a lion? Because they said, I listen to a lot of runners, on social media, and like they talk about marathon animal them out, and that's how we killed them. But it'd be so fucking scary, like those animals chasing you, like a full grown mountain lion, or like you said, a jaguar. Like, how do you run from that? Because they bolt, dude, and they just rip you fucking apart.
Well, they'll stalk you.
Yeah. Yeah, they're in the trees and shit, or they're in the fucking bushes, like.
Well, that's like when I was out in Colorado, and I took a 45 with me out there, and like, I mean, maybe I was a little bit overprotective, but, I just.
It's scary when you're by yourself in that type of shit, dude.
I did it out in California and Colorado both. I went tent camping both times. For both trips, did a 5-day trip out in Yosemite and a 5-day trip out or a 4-day trip out in out near Boulder. I forgot the name of the mountain, but
yeah.
But we were a mountain town outside of Boulder, about 30, 45 minutes. But God, thank God, because like I was like. And I was scared shitless ever since then, But I still go hike and do all these things, But, I mean.
It's a...